Hey there everybody, just doing a review for this UGREEN 145 watt 25,000 milliamp hour power bank. And so just taking a look at the box that the power bank comes in, pretty plain at the front. Over the back, it does give you the specifications panel and a few tidbits of information right over here. 100 watts of power delivery is available from the power bank, and you are able to recharge it at 65 watts, and it also has a LED display that's able to show the battery capacity remaining. And so what's included in the box is the power bank, of course. You also get this carrying pouch that you can use to place the power bank into. You also get a Type-C to Type-C charging cable that's able to accept 100 watts of power delivery. And right over here, user instruction, not too sure what this is, but this is the manual right over here. A pretty helpful one. You just got to open it up just like this, so it's not a book type of manual. And right over here, as you can see, it does give you the specifications. I believe you can also find this on the product page over on Amazon. So, single port charging is when you're able to use the max power of each of the ports. But at the same time, you can also use the max power of each of the ports when you're charging multiple devices, which is really surprising for this power bank. And so right over here, as you can see, if you're charging a single device from the C1 port, it's going to be able to output 100 watts of power delivery. If you're charging a single device from type A, it's going to be able to output 18 watts. And if you're charging a single device from the C2 port, it's going to be able to output 45 watts. But if you're charging two devices at the same time, one from C1 and one from C2, the C1 port is still going to be able to output 100 watts, and the C2 port is still going to be able to output 45 watts. The only change in charging power is when you're charging from the type A and the C2 port at the same time. And that's going to make the total output of the power bank 15 watts only, which is kind of strange. And also when you're charging three devices at the same time, right over here, C1 is going to still continue to output 100 watts of power delivery. But if you're charging from type A and C2 also, the max output of those two ports is going to be 15 watts only. And so yeah, overall impressive charging power from this power bank. I have to say, you're technically able to fast charge two Type-C laptops at the same time. If your laptop does charge from a USB-C port, this is a really impressive power bank. So it's not able to output 145 watts of power delivery from a single port. That's the max output, which is 145 watts. And so the power bank does have a 6 by 3 by 1 inch form factor, and it weighs about a pound. And so yeah, it's a decent size. It's not large. You can place it in your pocket if you have a pocket that is large enough. But yeah, a really nice looking power bank as well. It's mostly silver with those type of black accents all around. UGREEN has gotten really good at designing their chargers over time, and this definitely looks premium and it's just really nice to look at. And right over here, this is the power button that you can press to check the remaining battery capacity, which is 53% at this time. And right over here, as I mentioned before, so right over here, as I mentioned before, this is the C1 port, and this is going to be the port that's able to output 100 watts. And this is also the port that's going to be able to input 65 watts when you're recharging the power bank. The Type A port is going to be able to output 18 watts, and this is the C2 port that is able to input and output 45 watts of power delivery. And so once again, the most impressive part of this power bank is being able to output 100 watts from here, and at the same time output 45 watts from here. That 145 watt max output is the best part of this power bank, other than the 25,000 milliamp hour capacity. As you can see right over here, 25,000 milliamp hours is going to be helpful for charging phones about 3 or 4 times. It all depends on what phone you're charging. A lot of phones these days have very large batteries. When it comes to charging tablets or laptops that have similar battery sizes, you're going to be looking at maybe a single full charge and maybe spare capacity left over. And right over here, it does give you the specifications again. And overall, a really neat power bank, a really powerful one. I'm going to get to testing it out right now. All right, guys, so just back with the UGREEN 145 watt power bank. Right over here, I am charging my Lenovo laptop. This is, I believe, the Lenovo Flex 5 laptop. But yeah, anyways, I'm charging it from the power bank alone. I'm getting about 36 watts from it. And so, with a 100 watt Type-C output, you're going to be able to fast charge most Type-C chargeable laptops, and that's one of the best parts about this power bank. But also, you're able to fast charge other devices simultaneously with the power bank, which isn't really common with a power delivery power bank, because usually what happens is that when you're charging multiple devices at the same time, you lose that high power output from the stronger Type-C port. But that's not what's happening here. I'm actually able to fast charge my Note 9 while also being able to fast charge my Lenovo laptop. So you see the charging power for the laptop didn't change. It's still charging at about 36 watts, and I'm still able to continue fast charging my Note 9. And since this Type-C 2 port is able to output 45 watts, I could potentially charge another Lenovo laptop at the same time as well. However, when you charge 3 devices at the same time with this power bank, you're going to lose that fast charging from the C2 port and also the Type-A port. Let me get this Type-A charging cable plugged in. All right, and so now that I have my LG G7 plugged into the Type-A port, my Note 9 is now standard charging, and so is my LG G7. And so both the C2 port and Type-A port are sharing a 15 watt output at this time, but the C1 port is still continuing to output 100 watts of power delivery. So the C1 port is always going to be able to output 100 watts of power delivery, no matter how many devices you're charging. And that's one of the best parts about this power bank. Right over here, as you can see, still chugging along at 37 watts for the Lenovo laptop. And let me unplug my Note 9 to see if the charging power for my LG G7 changes. It should be able to fast charge now. Yep, there we go. So I guess I just had to unplug it and plug it back in. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it restarted charging. But yeah, there we go. Now I'm able to fast charge my LG G7 from the Type-A port, since it's outputting 18 watts now, and 100 watts is still coming out of C1. Oh, and I also wanted to show that I am able to charge my Lenovo laptop from the C2 port as well. As you can see, I'm getting the same 36 watt recharging speed that I was getting from the C1 port as well. I just wanted to show that real quick to show that the charging ports work in a similar way. This Lenovo laptop treats a 45 watt Type-C port the same way as a 100 watt Type-C port, simply because it's able to accept a certain amount of power. But yeah, just wanted to show that real quick. There we go. Alright guys, so just back testing out the pass-through charging capabilities of the UGREEN power bank, and it looks like it does feature pass-through charging. I am able to charge my Lenovo laptop from the C1 port, and I'm recharging it from the C2 port right over here. I am using the UGREEN 100 watt wall charger, and so this port right over here is able to output 100 watts at this time from the wall charger. And I'm recharging the power bank at about 50 watts. As you can see right over here on the River 2 power station screen, I'm getting about 50 watts going into the power bank. However, just a heads up, I think the Type-A port is disabled during pass-through charging, because I don't think I'm actually able to charge my phone from the Type-A port during pass-through charging. Because yeah, you see, I just plugged in my Note 9 to the Type-A port, and nothing's happening. But the C1 port is continuing to charge my Lenovo laptop. So just something to know. And so let me go ahead and see if I can charge my laptop from the C2 port and recharge from the C1 port also. Alright you guys, so just back with the UGREEN power bank. And so I'm charging my laptop from the C2 port right over here. I'm getting the same 36 watt charging speed that I was getting from the C1 port. And I'm recharging the power bank from the C1 port. And so I'm able to get 77 watts of going into the power bank. So yeah, pass-through charging is possible from either of the ports, whether you're charging from C1 and recharging from C2, or if you're charging from C2 and recharging from C1. It works either way. That's pretty cool. My recommendation is to have a 65 watt power delivery wall charger or higher to get the most of the recharging speed for the power bank, because right over here the C1 port is able to recharge the power bank at 65 watts. And so I'm using a 100 watt wall charger right over here. I'm getting about a 77 watt recharge speed. Not too sure if that's accurate on the screen for the River 2 power station, but it doesn't matter. It's recharging pretty fast right now, so that's good to see. And so yeah, that's all I really have to say about the UGREEN 145 watt power delivery power bank. This is a impressive power bank. It's definitely steep on the price though. Just a heads up, I will have a link to the product page for the power bank down in the description below. I will also have a review article over at chargerharbor.com in case you want to read a review for the power bank as well. But yeah, overall, just my final thoughts. It's a solid power bank. If you're going to be dropping money on this power bank, it's probably the only portable charger that you're going to need for a while. This type of power output from a power bank isn't really common. Being able to use 100 watts and 45 watts of power delivery at the same time. This is something that you would see with a wall charger, yes, but not really with a power bank. But yeah, I will be doing a battery capacity test as well for this power bank eventually. I think it does have a 90 watt hour capacity. We're not talking about milliamp hours, but I just want to see if it really does have that 90 watt hours that it says it does right there. But yeah, I will see you all in the next video. All right, goodbye.